Tansin Atute Mak Tiar Wheatley, Nisigasun, Tawau. Welcome to APTN National News for this Tuesday afternoon. CTV News has learned former Assembly of First Nations National Chief Phil Fontaine is accused of sexually assaulting a student in the 1970s. A lawsuit filed in Manitoba alleges Fontaine assaulted the plaintiff during a high school trip in the 1970s. The suit also alleges Fontaine arranged and led the trip with the Saugeen Education Authority. The authority denies Fontaine was ever an employee and is calling for the suit to be dismissed. Fontaine has yet to file a statement of defense and did not respond to CTV News for comment. The allegations have not yet been tested in court. Edmonton City EPCOR and the Papas Chase First Nation have recognized a historic gravesite in Rossdale Flats. A sacred pipe ceremony was held in the area. In 2001, the Papas Chase First Nation fought EPCOR's planned expansion of the Rossdale Flats power plant. The historic gravesite was officially recognized in 2005. Officials say today's ceremony is a meaningful act of reconciliation.
Our hearts and are full of joy with what happened today because this is the first step towards unity. It's a creator's law. That's creator's law. Unity. Wakotowin. That's our Cree law.
Papas Chase First Nation Chief Darling Misick says today was especially significant ahead of the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation next week. A First Nation chief in the Kawartha region is calling on politicians and people in positions of power to stand up against racism. Chief Laurie Carr of Hiawatha First Nation wrote an online opinion piece in the Peterborough Examiner. According to Chief Carr, she's experienced blatant racism more intensely than ever before, allegedly from people in positions of power, including the Premier of Ontario, who described First Nation peoples as coming with hat in hand. Carr said there's been racial slurs from locals during a time of crisis. She's calling on all levels of government, local businesses, and community organizations to take actions against racism. The City of Peterborough Mayor Jeff Leal responded to Chief Carr's concerns, stating there will be an investigation into any allegation against city workers. Saskatchewan RCMP are asking for the public's help in locating a man in his 30s who went missing in North Battleford last Thursday. RCMP say 32-year-old Carlin Bear was last seen last Thursday evening on September 18th on 105th Street in North Battleford. Officers have since been checking areas that Bear frequents, but he hasn't been located. Bear is 5'9", 180 pounds with medium-length brown hair and brown eyes. He wears glasses and has a tattoo of a cross on his arm and was last seen wearing a dark green sweatshirt and black pants. If anyone knows where Carlin Bear is, you are asked to contact RCMP or Crime Stoppers. A command center has been set up on the bank of the North Saskatchewan River to help in the search for 14-year-old Samuel Bird. He has been missing since June 1st, and the Edmonton police just executed a search warrant in the case late last week. With more on this, here's APTN's Chris Stewart.
During the day, this command center is full with dozens of volunteers. Now, around 5 p.m., things are wrapping up for the day. It's a large area with a teepee, large tents, kitchen, and a sacred fire. It's to help volunteers and searchers in their efforts to find 14-year-old Samuel Bird, missing now nearly 4 months. People are searching the land and the North Saskatchewan River to find Samuel. And Alana Bird, Samuel's mother, is grateful for the help.
We have a lot of smudges, so people are welcome to come offer some tobacco to the fire or some medicine, and obviously to the water as well. And yeah, it's amazing. We have some searchers here with their dogs. We have like families that go out on their own every day, and it's really heartwarming.
The community has helped with supplies to support the search, and safety is a priority for those who brave the cold, deep river.
Any of the searches, we always make sure that we write like who's going out and then who comes back in, just for safety issues if someone maybe gets hurt out there. And we have like a lot of the donations come down here, like waters, Gatorades, food for the volunteers and for the searchers as well.
Dakota Bear helped organize the command center. He searched for and found his brother's body in the South Saskatchewan River in 2022 in Saskatoon.
I'm just supporting in ways that I can, offer my skills and my experience, because I've been on many searches for missing and murdered Indigenous people. I do a lot of grassroots community work, and the story just resonated with me.
The Edmonton police confirmed to APTN that they executed a search warrant at a residence Thursday and would provide no further details. Alana is asking the public for help in finding her son.
I was just wanting to ask Edmonton and surrounding areas if someone has like an acreage or a farm, or even just driving down a back road, just to keep an eye out if you see anything on your farm or anything suspicious, or even if you smell something or your dog's been wanting to go that way, just to give it a quick look around your property. You never know. And obviously if anyone has any information, to please still come forward to the Edmonton Police.
Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Edmonton.
Vandals attacked the office of a First Nation politician in Manitoba over the weekend. Pieces of scattered glass could still be found early Monday, left over from the transgression against the provincial minister. Wooden boards are covering up the smashed windows of MLA Phil Fontaine's constituency office on North Main Street in Winnipeg. Winnipeg police say they are investigating the matter. The smashed windows come after months of calls from Manitobans of various political leanings for Fontaine's removal from cabinet. First, due to comments she made about an American Sign Language interpreter working at an event she hosted, saying she should not have been on stage. And more recently, thanks to social media blunder where Fontaine shared a post from another Instagram user condemning recently assassinated American right-wing activist Charlie Kirk. Fontaine apologized both times. Premier Wab Kinew has stood behind her following her apologies. A provincial spokesperson said Fontaine's constituency office will remain open and appointments for services can be scheduled through phone and email. And an Indigenous real estate agency is joining the market in Quebec. We tell you all about it when we return. Chesqua. Pitigwe. For doctors in Chisasibi, Quebec, saving a person's life can often be a battle against time. To cut wait for urgent care, the community on the banks of James Bay has bought a medevac plane. CTV's Kelly Gregg reports.
080 Victor final. Heading 00 reception.
It's a new lifeline for patients in need, where midair lives can be saved.
So if we have to intubate someone on board that deteriorates since we left the community up north, well, we are able to intubate them at any time with our equipment.
This is CB Air, a new medevac service in northern Quebec. It's owned by the Cree Nation of Chisasibi. So instead of being in Montreal, the planes will be in the community near James Bay, ready to go at a moment's notice.
It's not uncommon that the patient will only get the medical attention that he or she deserves in 7-8 hours. Right now, we can have the patient in Montreal in about 2 hours or less.
It's staffed with medevac nurses who can stabilize a patient in the air until they get to a hospital in Val d'Or or Montreal.
We always talk about the golden hour or the golden few hours. You really want them in a center where we can take care of them with the appropriate medications and the tests that we need. Delaying even 2-3 hours, that's a major problem.
The plane is a King Air 350, which has been used extensively on gravel runways and in unpredictable weather, an everyday reality in the north.
It's not uncommon that you can see all 4 seasons in a day.
The town acquired the plane in the spring, as construction on a new hospital is set to start to replace this nearly 50-year-old facility.
We are missing a lot of things, certainly an operating room and surgeons. We don't have a CAT scan or an MRI.
Dr. Darlene Kitty has worked in the Cree community for decades and says currently doctors there are limited by what's available. For instance, high-risk pregnancies and chemotherapy patients need to go south to receive care.
I think most patients realize this is what we can do. or offer at this time.
When it was announced, it was said the new hospital would serve about 20,000 people in 9 communities and have the ability to provide specialized services like some surgeries, CT scans, and cancer treatments, which weren't always readily available before. These artist renderings show what the new hospital will look like. It's expected to offer 52 inpatient beds, up from 29 now. There's a focus on the dialysis units. As Kitty says, in 1983, the diabetes rate in Chisasibi was 2.3%. By 2021, it was 31%. And she adds, it's a good chance to bring some community members who are being treated hours away home.
Certainly, we want to repatriate some of the patients we have staying in the south, and it's certainly cheaper to take care of a patient up here than send them south.
This new seniors residence is also being built to accommodate more people. But with the increased services comes a new challenge. Houses are going up all over Chisasibi as the community is now trying to attract some of the 700 workers it will need to run the new hospital.
We're running to trying to catch up with all of that. So that's a challenge in itself. That's just one building, though, one hospital. How do we keep up with all of this demand?
The hope is to get visiting surgeons to the north to perform operations at the new facility. And for the past decade, there's been a push to train more local healthcare workers.
I think they really welcome a Cree professional because there's already that knowledge of the culture and the reality.
And that also applies to medevac pilots.
Once we establish the base here, it'll be 100% Cree owned, and one day we hope we will have 100% Cree pilots as well.
The timeline for the hospital opening will be set in the spring, and the medevac service has been running for months. An effort to make healthcare more accessible.
That is our goal. It's to save lives.
So that people in remote parts of the province can get the services they need. Kelly Gregg, CTV News, Cree Nation of Chisasibi.
There is a new player joining the real estate market in Quebec, known as Canada's first Indigenous commercial real estate agency. APTN Stephanie DeSève was at the Panorama Agency launch.
Out of the 28,000 active real estate agencies in the country, Panorama is the first Indigenous commercial real estate agency in Canada and is changing the scope of the market in Quebec.
Lorsqu'on parle du mot panorama, on a aussi le synonyme panoramique, vue d'ensemble, vision à 360 degrés.
The agency offers rentals, sales, acquisitions, and urban planning consulting services. Benoit Loyer, a Mi'kmaq native of Listigouche, is the founder and CEO of Panorama. He sees many advantages for communities to do business with the agency.
On veut en quelque sorte devenir un bras externe de chacune des communautés en tout ce qui concerne l'immobilier. Donc, si les communautés veulent faire des développements soit à l'interne dans les communautés ou à l'extérieur, faire des acquisitions ou du développement.
The agency's position is unique.
Donc, on se voit aussi comme des connecteurs pour rassembler les peuples.
Loyer says he sees an entrepreneurial excitement in the communities. However, he points out that the housing crisis is hindering economic development.
Lorsqu'il n'y a pas d'espace de bureau pour que les entrepreneurs dans les communautés se rassemblent pour brainstormer, lancer leur pouce, leur business, bien, qu'est-ce qui arrive à ce moment-là? Bien, ça crée un ralentissement économique dans nos communautés. Donc l'immobilier, c'est un moteur justement pour propulser les futures générations et les jeunes entrepreneurs.
He wants his agency to support the leaders behind these projects. To make this happen, Loyer partnered with 2 experienced women, one of them being the former Grand Chief of Kahnawake.
We gave thanks to the trees that we had to cut down for giving up their lives so that we could have development, we could have growth, and we could evolve in this modern world that we're living in. So bringing that kind of perspective into commercial real estate is something that's not out there.
The ex-Grand Chief is convinced of the agency's success.
With Ben and I linking our 2 nations of the Mi'kmaq and the Mohawk combined with all of our knowledge, expertise, and together the 3 of us are just, I believe, a winning combination, and that there's no limit to what we can do and what we can achieve.
Loyer, for his part, is filled with a sense of pride.
La fierté d'avoir créé ça, mais après ça, d'ouvrir cette voie-là pour les autres qui vont suivre. Parce que souvent, c'est comme ça. Il y a une première, puis après ça, il y en a plein d'autres qui suivent. Fait que ça m'inspire.
Stéphanie Desèvres, APTN National News, Mohawk Territory, Ganawage.
Confronting residential school denialism. It's why two Indigenous women teamed up to write a new book called Decolonization and Me. The two women recently launched the book in Winnipeg.
Thank you to you both. I'm a junior high teacher.
It was a night to reflect and share the latest book from the founder of the Orange Book story.
Wade Chochweda, Phyllis Webstad Rensquest, Stracham Chatlam Slakwan.
Phyllis Webstad and Métis scholar Christy McLeod joined forces last November to write Decolonization and Me. Released this month in time for National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, it confronts residential school denialism.
I've never been face to face with a denier, but I've seen their comments. I know they say don't read the comments on Facebook, but I read the comments and I screenshot them.
And it's those screenshots that make up much of the dialogue throughout the book. The launch was moderated by Indigenous Studies professor Sean Carlton.
The bullying, the intimidation, the harassment. Why start off in that way?
Endeavor, I guess, to understand the denier mindset, because I know we aren't liars, and there are people alive today who have brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles who didn't come home.
The night had many in the audience engaged and sharing their own stories.
I'm an intergenerational survivor of the residential school. And I live in the north end of Winnipeg right now. We have a genocide going on with all the methamphetamine, what they call down, the fentanyl, the crack cocaine, the mass incarceration of our youth, the mass unemployment.
While some had words of advice for denialists.
And read all the documents that talk about us having to go to these schools for 100 years. 100 years. Can you even fathom that? Probably not. So decolonize, my favorite subject. I'm telling you, anybody that's ready to talk to me, I'm here anytime. So for me, decolonization is rewinding.
Christy McLeod says the book is an easy read and is broken down into 4 parts.
That first part of the book is really addressing denialism and denial and what that looks like. And for me, then the next stage of my journey, acknowledge that something happened. And so that stage of acknowledgement isn't really about bringing it into my heart yet, but it's in my head, and I'm acknowledging that. The next portion is about accepting it and really trying to figure out in my heart, what does that mean? What does that mean to me, and how do I move forward within that? And then the final part of the book is about moving forward together. So what does this look like collectively? How do we walk this path?
A path that Webstad and McLeod continued to walk on in response to the TRC's 94 calls to action.
I'm really looking forward to sharing it with my students,
while encouraging others to walk with them. T.R. Wheatley, APTN National News, Winnipeg. We now want to tell you about this week's web poll question. Should there be a special charge and sentence for politically motivated crimes? Your options are yes, no, and unsure. And you can go to our website, aptnnews.ca/poll to cast your ballot. And what would history of the fur trade look like if a woman wrote it? A play in Vancouver will give us a glimpse right after the break. Cheskwa. Starting on the East Coast, Charlottetown 18, Fredericton 19, Happy Valley Goose Bay 12, Inukjuik 5, Chibougamau 13, Quebec City 21, North Bay 17, Sault Ste. Marie also 17, Big Trout Lake 13, Kapuskasing 13, Churchill 18, Thompson 17, Barons River 16, Brandon 19, North Battleford 17, Yorkton 18, Uranium City 16, La Ronge 17. Moving west, High Level 18, Peace River 16, Edmonton 14, Lethbridge 32, Bella Coola 9, Campbell River 19, Dease Lake 8, Prince Rupert 11, Old Crow 1, Dawson 7, Wrigley 11, Fort Simpson 16, Paulatuck 6, Colville Lake 10, Cambridge Bay 2, Baker Lake 7, Arctic Bay -2, Igloolik 2 degrees. The work of an Inuit artist from Nunavut is on display at a major art exhibit in Brazil. Juvenai Shuna's work was selected for the 36th Bienal del Sao Paulo in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Ashuna is a graphic artist from Qinghai, Nunavut, who is best known for her drawings depicting Arctic landscapes and Inuit culture and mythology. The biennial contemporary art exhibit is one of the most significant in Latin America. This year's exhibit, Not All Travelers Walk Roads of Humanity as Practice, explores rethinking humanity as a verb and reimagining relationships. The exhibit runs from September 6th to January 11th. A play about women of the fur trade set in the 1800s is about to open in Vancouver. As APTN's Ryan Cunningham reports, this play takes a different look from a woman's perspective.
My husband can take it and bring it east. Who's Jehoshaphat, the fourth king of Judah? Why do you know that? You're not Jewish. This is the fur trade.
At this rehearsal for Women of the Fur Trade, a satire about 3 women stuck in a fort during Louis Riel's Red River Rebellion and the rapidly changing world of the Canadian fur trade. Director Renai Morisseau speaks to us about the production.
Francis Concan, the writer, the playwright of Women of the Fur Trade, wrote a satiric play about the women in the fur trade. What would it be if women wrote about the history of the Red River Métis Rebellion? And when you talk about the Métis, the European, and the Anishinaabe, or Ojibwe, as it is in the play, it's that confluence of interpretations of how history sits. And sometimes the European perspective isn't necessarily what the Métis are experiencing or what the Anishinaabe understand as their land.
Although it's set in the past, the characters are right out of 2025, even singing hit pop songs. The play takes history and interprets the events through a modern lens.
I think what's really important about this story is that for any story you have to have an amazing group of actors. Kalumpa Bob, Sherry Miracle, Kelsey Wavy, Jonathan Fisher, and Victor Hunter. And I think for all of them, we're coming together to bring joy to the stage here in Vancouver.
Women of the Fur Trade runs from September 24th to October 4th at the Frederick Wood Theatre on the UBC campus. Ryan Cunningham, APTN National News, Vancouver.
And that's your daytime newscast for this Tuesday, September 23rd. Special shout out to 3 hard workers behind the scenes. Bill Scott, Daryl Richard, and Derek Christensen all celebrated their 25 years here at APTN National News this month. Congratulations on that life sentence with purpose, guys. I'm TR Wheatley. It's been a pleasure to be here with you. From all of us at APTN to all of you, Egase, Gitam, Kikawapamitananaw.